what it do? Make that like button blue. Sub if you new. Hey, what it do? Make that like button blue. Sub if you new.
Hello, salutations of the Dude Stock Gamer, all pilot dragon. Nobody else subscribe. Let's get it. Welcome back, chat. We are live once again, back to back to back. Been a crazy week, but we had to go live for the Ghost of Yotei reviews. I would have did it earlier, but I was busy finishing up my Wolverine video, which is live on the channel right now. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Leave a like. But yeah, today we're gonna go over some Ghost of Yotei reviews. I'm gonna look at my couple of my go-tos, but first let's check out where the game is right now on Metacritic. What's up, chat? How's everyone doing? What's up, Strife, Eastwood, Echo, Travis, No Cap? Appreciate you. All right, so right now, Ghost of Yotei sitting at a very strong 87 on Metacritic. Definitely not game of the year front runner territory. My experience, if you're trying to seriously win game of the year, if you're not in the 90s, it ain't happening. So it looks like this year game of the year is pretty much going to come down to, like, I guess, Death Stranding 2, and the front runner is, of course, Expedition 33. All right, let's check out Digital Foundry first. I wanna see what they're cooking on Ghost of Yotei. More game where they think. You see, Kojima says something about he wanted to capture like actual ghosts for his game or something. I'm like, bruh, that man is on some premium drugs. Gotta love Kojima. There's just no one like him. So Travis is just a hater in general. The man was born to hate. Did you see Kojima said yum yum peanut butter and LSD sandwich? I don't believe you. I don't think that is a sentence Kojima-san uttered ever in life. Yeah, Eastwood really thought that he had somehow accidentally stumbled upon 1 week early access. I didn't realize all he did was preload the game. It was adorable. I love old people. They're just the funniest. Travis is the mid king. Actually, accurate. Let's check this out. This is very epic already. What is the best TV for a PS5?
When building a sequel to a successful game, developers often walk a fine line. Stick too closely to the original and risk
Probably like
stagnation. Stray too far,
OLED?
you might lose your dedicated audience. Early impressions suggested
High-end?
Ghost of Yotei leaned toward the former.
If you just want to
but
max
the final
out
result reveals something
your visuals.
more compelling. Not only is Yotei a remarkable sequel, it's also a visually stunning and confidently executed evolution of the original.
Anything with a Samsung Gaming Hub is also pretty good if you're gaming in general. Because you can access Game Pass and other apps like that and just play it on your TV.
As before, Ghost of Yotei opens with sweeping, living landscapes that stretch out endlessly towards the horizon. The game's opening title sequence expertly combines perfectly placed musical notes with the appearance of the primary companies involved, followed by a title card. The power of such a sequence cannot be understated. It sets the tone for what's to come, and Ghost of Yotei pulls it off beautifully.
Bro, Sucker Punch is insane. What? Yo, how do they do this every time, bro? How do they do this every freaking time? You see how beautiful that is? Yotei is the definition of not mid. Facts. Imagine not liking this game or Sucker Punch. What's up, Lords?
But before you take to the fields at the foot of the mountain, you're introduced to the character Atsu, whose family is murdered before her eyes at the foot of a burning tree by Lord Saito and his gang. We're then treated to a beautifully animated, ink-style introduction sequence. Atsu has returned to her homeland 16 years later with an eye for revenge. You begin by cleverly writing the names of your targets using the touchpad, which serves as your belt during your journey. The introduction mission focuses on the snake. During this sequence, I immediately noticed that the game seemed to be running near 4K at 30 frames per second. Naturally, I headed straight to the options menu to see if 60 FPS was available instead. What I discovered was a welcome surprise. You see, Ghost of Yotei supports ray tracing.
Ooh.
Now, ray-traced lighting is a perfect match for an expansive game like this, yet prior to release, any online search pairing Ghost of Yotei with ray...
Here's the thing. There are very few things in this world that I care about less than I care about ray tracing. I can appreciate a beautiful game that makes good use of it. I think in general, AAA developers are spending too much time getting off on the idea of like hyper spec'd out technical like ray trace reflections on the pebbles on the like it adds, I feel like it adds too much bloat to an already bloated industry where you're dealing with the AAA stuff. I feel like if some studios just cut back on some of that, they would produce better games, not to mention better performing games. Because I feel like at a certain point, there are diminishing returns with your visuals. Like the jump from PS3 to PS4 was crazy. Like everyone thought it was magic. But the jump to PS4 to PS5 was like, for the most part, besides the load times. That was like the biggest thing, the pretty much instant load times. But in terms of visuals, it's like, well, Ghost of Tsushima existed on the PS4. It looked better still looks better than a lot of PS5 games and current gen games. Same with The Last of Us 2. You know, they already looked stunning. You know, and like there are a few games that really like jump to another level beyond that. So at this point, you're just looking at performance, I think, as a new frontier. So I think they should, in general, focus more on performance. That said, Sucker Punch seems to be literal wizards. Like they have all the ray tracing stuff that gets people like Digital Foundry going. The games look unbelievable, and they don't spend that much money relative to the rest of the industry. Like, they reported that Yotei's budget was around 60 million, like around the same as Ghost of Tsushima's, which is insane for a AAA game in this day and age.
Ray tracing would have come up empty. It's a feature the developers have never promoted or even mentioned, but it's
what a
here,
flex,
quietly waiting to be found, and the results are excellent both on the base and professional PlayStation 5s. If you're playing on a PS5 Pro even,
that's
you
me,
can enjoy it at a full 60 frames per second.
Ooh.
But of course, you might wonder, what does it actually do? Well, in a word, global illumination, but with some limitations. Essentially, it seems to add an additional pass of ray trace lighting to the scenery, allowing for proper, precise bounce lighting with color transfer.
Okay.
To illustrate what I mean, check this out. Without ray tracing enabled, the pots visible in this scene exhibit a moderate orangish glow as a result of the sun, but it lacks any sort of precision and direction, and the shadowed areas are dark. Enabling ray tracing, however, immediately showcases a stark difference. Light travels from the window, bounces off the wooden shelf, and light is reflected up onto the underside of each clay jug. It's very localized and precise.
Not gonna lie, this looks exactly the same to me.
What it essentially means is that the scenes are lit with increased precision and
Not gonna lie, the pot comparison, I felt like Pam Beasley in The Office. It's like corporate wants you to tell what's the difference between the two pictures. It looks like the same picture. I mean, I'm gonna turn ray trace on because I have the PS5 Pro. You know, you spend that much money on a console, you might as well play it at the highest possible settings. You know, I make sure I'm playing Rivals at 120 FPS. I'll play Yotei at ray trace 4K 60 or whatever. But that like when they were comparing Atsu, the lighting, I was like, okay, this one has more light, this one has more light. When they compared the two pods, I'm like, bro, that's the same image. That's the same image. Look. And he said it's a stark contrast. I'm like, is it?
realism. And while not as robust as games designed from the ground up for RTGI, the results are excellent all the same, and is my recommended way of playing the
Okay,
game.
I can see
You can
just a
clearly
little bit
observe
more
here
light.
how ray tracing contributes to subtle light bounce effects. Note the illumination visible on the underside of Atsu's hat, a detail that would be absent using a purely rasterized solution.
Okay.
This implementation simply allows for a more robust simulation of light transport. That said, while it does greatly enhance the presentation as you've seen here so far, the implementation itself
Greatly?
appears to be a hybrid of sorts, likely building on the existing Pro.
Greatly is a strong
system.
word.
It's evident in how NPCs tend to stand out visually. They lack the grounded integration you'd expect if they were part of the ray tracing acceleration structure, not unlike what we've seen in
mess around.
software-based Lumen implementations. The game also still leverages a lot of screen space effects such as ambient occlusion, as opposed to the more natural contact shadows you might get from a more robust RTGI. Interestingly, Atsu
He says
herself
robust a
seems to
lot.
be treated differently. I noticed color bleed.
And news about Prototype 3, not anything
appearing on
recent that
nearby
I've seen.
geometry, such as trees, the light from the sun bouncing.
I haven't
off
looked
of it.
again yet,
You'll
though.
note that even when she's occluded from view, the tree exhibits a residual yellow glow, which suggests that
Looks
she
beautiful,
alone may be included
regardless.
in the BVH structure, allowing for more accurate light interactions where it matters. Now, this isn't as comprehensive or robust as the full RTGI suite
Take a shot every
of
time he says
games,
robust.
such as Doom: The Dark Ages. but the inclusion of ray tracing here still elevates the visual presentation to the next level, allowing it to feel like a
even without the ray tracing, what makes Sucker Punch just Ghost games, particularly what we're looking at here at Ghost of Yotei, is that they're just really good at art direction and design. Like this is, even without all the fancy stuff, like that's why Ghost of Tsushima was such a beautiful game, even on PS4. Like their ability to like capture these natural beautiful environments of Japan, the color contrast, the lighting, that's incredible. And they don't even need anything like super hyper technical. Like I'm literally not even going to notice the extra light balance, the robust light balance or whatever on the underside of the hat. But just looking at these fields is like, oh my god, that looks insane.
noticeable upgrade over the PS4 original. It adds nuance and depth to the lighting model.
That looks
and for
insane.
those playing on PS5 Pro, I'd absolutely recommend playing with this mode. That said, the traditional rasterized lighting pass remains impressive in its own right. Technically, it's comparable to the original game, but the artistry has evolved. The environments feel more cohesive and visually rich this time, even though they were already beautiful in the original. Many of the strengths we highlighted in the original video return here. The volumetric cloud simulation, for instance, is once again superb with minimal breakup and excellent variation. It really breathes life into these landscapes. The overall atmospheric lights.
Not gonna lie, I do stop quite a bit when playing Ghost of Tsushima and say wow, but not specifically the lighting, but yeah, I'll call out just the scenery, like stuff like this. Like if I'm playing, I'll probably stop here and jump into photo mode and take a couple of shots, appreciate the landscape. But yeah, I'm not gonna rave about this beautiful robust light balance. Like, I don't care. The environments just look crazy. Prototype 3, yeah. I made a couple of videos on Prototype 3. Haven't seen any new updates since my last video. The last one I made is going to have the most up-to-date information, which is that a leaker mentioned that Activision is working on reviving the franchise.
Scattering, especially when standing atop a tall mountain, is breathtaking.
Damn, look at that.
Built on the foundation laid by the previous title as well, and the addition of dynamic particles and foliage adds a layer of realism to every scene. A particularly delightful touch is the interaction with the foliage, specifically
look at the leaves.
Covered arenas, leaves behind trails of leaves, fluttering and scattering in your wake, a subtle but effective detail. The original had something like this too, but it was much less robust, as you can see, not leaving the trails or producing as many leaves. So it's a noticeable upgrade.
Hey,
bold color palette and vibrant landscapes.
Black belt at 15, nice.
Presented using HDR. Yotei leverages the full dynamic.
Congratulations,
range,
my friend.
Delivering stark contrast between
use it responsibly.
Interiors and brilliant sunlight. On a calibrated HDR display, it's breathtaking, and this video is, of course, presented in HDR. So if you have such a display, it should give you an idea.
My dad was a brown belt. I forgot, or red. I think he was like one off black. I forgot what he trained in. But I trained in Kempo when I was a kid. But I stopped before I got to 15. I stopped at 12. I was like, I got the purple at like 11 or something, and I stopped. I got bored and wanted to do boxing. What's up, Champagne? Yeah, that's a crazy achievement. Took a shot for that robust, bro. I'm saying, bro, we like it's like actually I didn't even know this before. It's been a while since I watched the Digital Foundry. I did not know how many times This guy says robust on the video. Suck Illuminati. Putting your son Jujutsu when he's done with flag football. Good call, yeah. Yeah. It was Jujutsu wasn't really like popping like it was now when I was younger, but I would have loved it because I took Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu later on when I was already grown up. But it was still the best workout I ever had. Just grappling. And then doing some floor mat exercises.
But of course, the settings that I captured with here were adjusted for my TV specifically, and it can vary. But arguably the most
Ain't news
impressive
about Iron Man.
aspect
Nope.
of visual design
Not since
lies
my
in its
last
sense
video.
of scale, not just in terms of map size, but in its perception. Sucker Punch has truly mastered the art of making the world feel vast. Sweeping valleys curve into towering
Vast.
mountains.
Robust
and the terrain
even.
design amplifies the illusion of grandeur. It's not just big, it feels big. A subtle distinction, but a meaningful one. This is further enhanced by
Actually
smart
true.
environmental cues.
Oh, look at the
Plumes
snow.
of smoke, such as those indicating key points on the map.
Let's say about the
shifting
slabs
weather
are
patterns,
yes.
And fields of white flowers.
This
Guide
game
the
looks
player
unbelievable.
and
I'm just gonna be riding around
ride through these flowers
on
and
the
you're
horse for
rewarded
hours.
with a traversal speed boost. A clever
Just
touch
do-
that gamifies.
I don't think I'm
exploration
gonna
without breaking
use
immersion.
fast travel.
The sheer density of reactive foliage
In this
all
game.
swaying and responding to your movement reinforces the sense of a living, breathing world. It's wonderful stuff.
YouTube Toby.
Equally, the character models are
Thank you for
impressively
re-up, my
detailed
friend.
once again, just like the first game. From facial features and eye rendering that you can see in this scene,
Oh wow, this
which
looks
are
great.
very realistic, to the weapons of battle carefully dangling from her outfit. The in-game models are top tier,
Wow.
and you can zoom way in and still see a ton of detail. It's definitely a strength of the
No,
game's visuals.
not blurry at all.
I'd also say that the actual animation in-game is superb, with smooth movement.
seeing Wolverine, you
especially
need the
during
Iron Man game,
combat,
same.
that does feel even better than the original game.
When you second play then Beyond.
Your horse then plays a role as well, and looks great in this game as you barrel through huge fields of grass.
Yo, this
If
looks
we
so
shift
good.
over to story sequences then, there's still a significant
Imagine him trying to get through a wine review while he's in the rotor bus. This game looks so beautiful. Oh my god. So it's crazy that the budget for this is like 60 million and it looks like this. There's some actual wizards over at Sucker Punch, bro. Studios out here spending like $200 million and Sucker Punch is doing this with 60. And they're a Western studio.
distinction between the high quality cinematic scenes and normal dialogue sequences.
That's crazy.
So the cinematics, the big story moments, these are of impeccable quality with brilliant lighting, effects, framing, and animation work. They were already excellent.
This game's
in the
gonna carry the
original game,
GTA 6.
and that's
No,
the case
literally.
here with even more visual flair.
Because you also got
I'll
Legends
talk more
mode coming
about
out
this shortly, but
early
I do
next
wanna
year.
mention that the storytelling in this game is also leagues beyond the original.
Ooh.
It's very well done.
Really?
However, not every scene can realistically be produced this way, so exactly like the first game and many other open world games, to be fair,
That's a bold statement. Because I love the story in the first game. I thought the narrative was so strong that I would literally be doing side quests. Because even those had like really interesting, compelling stories tied to them. So I was like doing a bunch of those without going through the main quest. So the fact that them saying it's much better than Tsushima, ooh, this is gonna be crazy. Talk about face their toes and chicken feet, or maybe they're just efficient, which I think is a big problem. Like I think maybe it's just that because Sucker Punch also says they only work on one game at a time, so I think they probably are just obviously extraordinarily talented, but they don't have more staff than they need, and they're like super efficient. But that's crazy. This Wolt game looks so damn good. Can't wait till your pre-order starts to hello facts. I can't wait till my review code, my launch code gets here.
secondary scenes are used instead, and In this game, the animations are rather limited, so the gap between the two feels a little greater than usual. This is an area where Horizon Forbidden West massively improved on its prequel, but here it's not all that different from the previous title.
Side quests
It's
might as
kind
well
of
have been
similar
main
to something
missions.
like
No,
the
actual
Like a
packs.
Dragon series, which has these amazing directed cutscenes.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely
subpar character
definitely got to pre-order
interaction
Wolverine.
sequences. But while we're on the animation, there's something else I wanted to touch on. In my original video, I complained about this, specifically the way the character interacts with slopes and steps. It's not a huge deal, but it does
At all.
influence how the character sort of interacts with the terrain while simply walking or running. Did they improve it? Well, this time it does seem that foot IK, inverse kinematics, is used here, but the actual movement and animation when walking up and down slopes or stairs still doesn't properly reflect the terrain. It's a
Please tell me there aren't actually like gamers sitting playing a game and testing the stairs physics. I cannot imagine. I cannot imagine sitting there looking at playing this beautiful game and like, hold on. Let me see if they're walking up the stairs. Give them, bro. That's insane. Like, who cares? Bro, I've literally never heard of any of this. They have like a whole discipline dedicated to just game development is crazy. There's a whole discipline dedicated to just walking up terrain. Don't give up, bro. I cannot stress how much I don't care. And I've never noticed. I literally never, bro, I have 300 hours at least in Ghost of Tsushima. I never once noticed that. I swear, that's the first time I've ever seen that in 300 hours of playing Ghost of Tsushima. AC Shadows have bad server cameras. I wouldn't be able to tell you. I don't think I've ever noticed the stair climbing mechanics in a video game. So it's always this. It was always. Damn right I am. Right now I'm on your staircase though. I'm showing you how to properly walk upstairs.
A lot like the first game, which means when doing these actions, it looks a bit awkward. I was really hoping they would solve it, but alas, here we are. Another holdover from the last game is the reliance on screen space reflections with cube maps as the fallback.
Bro, look at that water. Now that's nice.
By and large, it works well enough, but as usual, the typical SSR artifacts do rear their head from time to time, and unsurprisingly, cube maps don't always match the scenery.
You definitely notice things like that in
Still,
games that embrace immersion.
Nitpicks, the overall
I've
presentation of this
literally
game
never.
is fantastic. It's a beautiful game, a beautiful world.
Only time I notice stuff like that is if the overall game just doesn't look polished, and like stuff is just overtly like over the top, you know, like clipping through walls or something. I have never stopped to look at the stairs.
And a wonderful evolution of the original. It still has its weaknesses, but overall, I do think Ghost of Yotei is a stunning, evocative experience, and I'm always happy to see a non-Unreal Engine-based open world game in the scene. So let's say you're jumping in, you're sold on the game, you want to give it a shot. You might be wondering then,
the horse figures about you the most.
When you open up the options menu, you'll find up to 4 different graphics modes.
Ooh.
3 on the base PS5 and 4 on PS5
Ooh.
Pro. So what do they do and how do they impact the game? When starting the game for the first time, then Yotei targets 30 frames per second.
You see that Kurosawa mode
of 3840 by 2160 or native 4K without ray tracing. If you're looking for the best image quality, this is the mode to go with. When counting the base PS5, I usually got around 28 out of 30 pixels, so the resolution is a little below 4K, but the image quality is still excellent. Then there's the performance mode, which targets 60 frames per second. This one drops down to around 1440p also without ray tracing.
Okay.
The base PS5 version, however, is closer to
All games
1080p,
come down to one
just
thing:
slightly
stereo
above.
mechanics. No
Then
facts.
there's the normal ray tracing mode, which is capped at 30 frames per second, but is available on both regular and professional PlayStation 5s. This one comes in around 1728p or so from what
I'm
I
playing on
found,
ray trace.
but closer to
I'll play on Ray
1440p
Trace Pro.
on the base system. And thanks to the
Just
excellent
because.
CAA in the game, it's still very sharp and crisp, but you can use RT features. My favorite mode, though, is the RT
Rise of
Pro
High pretty much
option.
has to show up at the
This
Game Awards
one
at this point,
offers 60 FPS gameplay,
or they have to
with
delay the
ray
game.
tracing, but it also leans on PSSR for anti-aliasing and upsampling, at least as far as I can tell. The base resolution
Reviews-
is a lot lower, though.
Only the
leaning
reviews.
around 1080p,
Only for
but
reviewers.
The overall image quality is still pretty good in most scenes.
Everyone
but
else still gotta wait a week.
Occasional issue, like here, look at this fine-grained cloth pattern. It's okay enough in the other mode, right? But when you switch to the RT Pro mode, you see a lot of extra noise and sparkle here, likely as a result of PSSR. Conversely, there are areas where the PSSR version has advantages over even
I
the
played Borderlands,
highest
yep.
resolution quality mode.
Haven't finished
Like
it yet
here,
though.
there's more stability on the wooden planks on the side of this house, specifically when using PSSR. Honestly, in
How to get
terms
the
of
good quality on the
overall
stream?
image quality, I do tend to think that the
Is it?
PSSR version trades blows with the
I'm just
highest
using
4K mode.
basic OBS
It's
settings.
really good. The thing is, though, I can't
I'm not
really
even
say
on a
that
high-end
any of the modes
computer.
are bad per se. They each have their own trade-offs and all deliver the expected results.
I'm still
So it's
using a
basically
webcam.
about tilting the needle in the direction that you prefer, right? And this is also true of performance, which thankfully is rather dull. You see, the 30 FPS modes deliver 30 FPS, and that's that. In my testing, I actually struggled to find even a single dip when using these two modes, but you would expect that, right? It's 30 FPS.
That was a joke. Okay.
60 frames per second, though, is where things get a little more
Still
interesting. Because
doesn't
if you
change my
recall,
answer.
The state of play featuring this game recently exhibited major performance problems, which left me wondering about the state of the game and its final release. Thankfully, the final game does not have these issues.
Okay.
The overwhelming majority of the time, it delivers a completely locked 60 frames per second without leaning on VRR at all. It's just completely stable.
Okay, that's
And
good.
it was smooth on both the Pro and base consoles. After about 15 hours of play, though, I did
Got the
actually
Yotei PS5 Pro
finally
edition.
find some slowdown, and it occurred during this battle here. But the key here is that the day one patch, which is supposed to arrive alongside the launch of the game, very specifically says that they will be implementing performance improvements for big battles in dense spaces, like this, I assume. So given how rare slowdown seems to be already in this current build, I would say we're looking pretty good for launch, and this may be completely cleaned up by then.
Okay, so
All this
performance
is to
should be
say
good.
The frame rate situation is excellent, and by and large, you shouldn't encounter many dips at all. So the news on this front is great. That said, beyond the frame rate, I noticed a couple of very odd performance-related bugs. Basically, in exactly 2 instances, the game randomly started dropping the sound, and then suddenly, it seized up. I thought the whole thing crashed, but after 10 to 20 seconds or so, the game actually came back and continued as normal. It's hard to say if this is a pre-release bug or not, and maybe it'll be fixed by the
Alright,
time the game launches.
that one's
but
bad.
I wanted to flag it here in case you encounter it.
Yeah, okay, that would piss me off. Like I'm in the middle. Like, bro, I know bro is mad. He's in the middle of a fight and he's actually getting cooked too. like he's getting absolutely destroyed. And then it freezes. Oh yeah, that would trigger me. The stair climbing stuff, I don't care. But yeah, that got it. Yeah, hopefully when we get the day one patch, we won't see any of that. Yeah, I'm definitely doing the highest end performance mode on PS5 Pro. Your eyes will most certainly not be able to tell the difference between 60 and 30.
So to summarize the presentation, the team has done a great job balancing improvements with development time. It's not a complete overhaul of their tech from the last game by any means, but it also kind of didn't need to be.
What's
And what's
also
here
a rough
looks
start.
fantastic.
Seems to be
The
doing good.
improvements are certainly welcome. Beyond that, it has great image quality across the board in every mode, and runs almost perfectly with only the occasional hiccup here and there. So that's all good stuff, right? But there's another strength I have not touched on yet. And
I'm
that's the
definitely
audio.
looking forward to First
When it
Light.
comes to building atmosphere and selling the world, sound and sound mixing are extremely important. In that sense, Yotei is a masterpiece. For starters,
Really?
cutscene audio is mixed almost like a film with active use of all available
I love
sound
that.
channels or the surround sound effect of the PS5 when using headphones, along with excellent clarity on speech and separation of the sound effects. Take a listen.
あの女だ。
迷子か？
昔なじみを探してる。妖帝六人衆。
つまみ出せ。
Okay, maybe because I have experience making music, both as an artist and producer. I really do appreciate games that have like great sound design and mixing. That was fantastic. And I'm not even using my good headphones. These are just my like standard headphones that I don't feel like replacing. They're okay. These aren't even my gaming headsets. These are just okay headphones. That sound mix is flawless. They did an incredible job with that. That stuff I appreciate. Maybe it's the musician in me. I appreciate that a lot. Listen to that rain.
The Kurosawa mode also returns.
Yes, Kurosawa mode. That's beautiful. Oh, the hot springs coming back. You have parties. I'm pretty sure they are. Have I ever played Forza? I streamed it. Wouldn't that come out on PS5 a couple months ago? Yeah, I did a stream for it. Just reminded you of the showdown scene from the best Western movie. It's like Clancy walking into this line, Unforgiven. Yeah.
Which obviously changes the look, but something I didn't mention before is that it also influences the sound to more closely resemble classic Kurosawa films like this.
殺してやる。
剣吾という火事が使
Oh, that's so cool.
それがどうした？
俺の父だ。
お主、松か。
圧だ。
But the key thing here is the ambiance, the soundscape you hear while actually playing.
Not gonna lie, I might have to do a whole playthrough just in Kurosawa mode. Forza was lagging like crazy. Yes, it was. That was bad performance. That performance was horrible. I had the same problem with the Oblivion remaster. It started off good, and then once I got like further into the open world, it was like a slideshow. I was like, Jesus.
Whether you're using headphones or a surround sound setup, there's some serious immersion here. For instance, exploring the countryside during a rainstorm yields remarkable results. Just listen carefully to this next sample. Pay attention to how the rain sound itself actually changes based on your position, and you can sort of hear the water bouncing off different types of objects all around you, not to mention the surround sound effect of the music being played in the nearby inn, and everything else. Just pay close attention.
Whole green screen's Kill Bill. Yeah, hell yeah. Wow, this sounds incredible. Legitimately. Now this is this definitely makes me feel immersed.
When things heat up as well.
Can you use the
it
instrument
sounds
as a
great
weapon?
too.
I don't
That
think so.
same scene here, only during combat, sounds like this.
Yes, standoff mode is back. Ooh, that was so clean.
But then there's the Watanabe mode, which is a collaboration between Sucker Punch and Shinichi.
The Samurai Champloo mode. Yeah, that's gonna be lit. Bro, look at that. You can pick up the sword with your foot and then throw it at somebody. That's so crazy. Yo, that's tough.
But then there's the Watanabe mode, which is a collaboration between Sucker Punch and Shinichiro Watanabe, director of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. Now, this sounds silly on paper, you know, pairing lo-fi beats with a game like this, but it's also a tribute to
if you've seen it.
Ujabes,
Not if you've seen
the
Samurai
composer
Champloo.
for Samurai Champloo. And honestly, I was kind of surprised at how well it works. Just listen to this here.
Yep, I need this on my Spotify. As soon as the soundtrack's available, it's going right in my Spotify. Actually works really well. Yo, this is tough.
Given the type of story they're telling, it fits better than I expected. It's good stuff. So basically, if you have a good sound system, or at least a solid set of cans, crank this game up and soak it all in, because it's one of the best sounding games I've heard thus far this year. Before we go though, I want to talk briefly about the game itself. There were a lot of things to love in the original, but I also kind of bounced off it. The pacing just didn't do much for me, and
I can't
while I did have
relate.
some fun, I didn't enjoy it as much as I had hoped. Ghost of Yotei, however, despite pre-release expectations, has managed to grab my attention in a way that the original never did. I think it comes down to a few things. Firstly, the characters and storytelling are simply more compelling this time. Conceptually, you're hunting down the six, and each one has its own unique area and story beats. The personalities are ramped up, making encounters more interesting as well. You really want to see where it'll go next, and the way your character interacts with everyone is also very compelling. It's reminiscent of classic films such as Lady Snowblood, especially when they toy with things from the past and present. But it's what happens in each of these locations that surprised me the most. Rather than focusing on simple repetitive tasks, which
This might end up being my
kind of
game of the
what we
year.
saw in the original, there's just a lot more variety this time. There are separate, unique areas dedicated just to the story scenes. There's new interior spaces, underground areas, and more to explore. There's puzzles to solve, unique combat scenarios, and more. When taking down something like a base as well, if you just rush straight for the boss, he'll call in his guards at a certain point, overwhelming you in the process. But if you stealth through instead, eliminating guards first, you can thin out the numbers, changing the encounter in the process. So even these types of scenarios feel more varied. The key is that there is just more variety and more unique crafted scenarios to enjoy, the kind you might expect from a more linear game like God of War, along with improvements to the overall open world flow of the game. Plus, the new maps are more beautiful and interesting to explore, and
I'm going
the
to love
hunt
this.
for each of the 6 really does feel unique. In fact, I could hardly put this game down during coverage. I just kind of wanted to keep going. In that sense, it might stand as one of the very best games Sucker Punch has ever made. Really impressive work here. Overall, then, we do have this beautiful, smooth performing, great sounding game with an excellent story, engaging characters, and solid gameplay. I went into it expecting just more of the same, but I walked away genuinely loving it. It is the better game. But that's going to do it for this video, so I hope you enjoyed it.
Wow, that's a strong praise from Digital Foundry. So I love the first game. I did not have any problems staying on it. I was like hooked on the game for like a month straight. And then when Legends mode came out, I just kept playing and wouldn't stop. So if it really is that big of a jump, then yeah, this might pass Expedition 33 for me and just be my game of the year. And my new favorite game of all time. I'm excited to try this next week. I can't wait. Shout out to Digital Foundry. I mean, most people know who they are, but yeah, definitely give them a sub if they piqued your interest. You want to hear more about robust game mechanics. Yeah, I still didn't finish it. I should have some time. So I'm gonna try to get back to finishing it. I'm pretty close. If I just lock in, I can probably finish it in a sitting. I've just been taking my time. I think I'm gonna do JorRaptor next. JorRaptor. Let's see. I already know JorRaptor loved it. One of the best open world games ever.
Ghost of Yotei.
I assumed he would enjoy it. Should you get Death Stranding 2 or Helldivers 2? I mean, I would definitely, if you can, I would definitely get both. I don't know if you played the first Death Stranding, or if you mind that you didn't play the first one, but I can definitely vouch for Helldivers. I think that's a great game to go back to, especially if you have people to play with. Even without people to play with, it's a really good time.
It has one of the best open worlds I've ever experienced. It's a game where you want to wander and stop whenever something grabs your attention, because there's a good chance it will lead to a fun little adventure with a nice reward at the end. This is such a step up from Tsushima, where the map was filled with the same activities that quickly got repetitive, not to mention the handful of random encounters that they kept repeating. In Yotei, almost everything feels handcrafted, put together with a lot of thought. I would even dare to say that it comes close to what Red Dead Redemption 2 accomplished. But Yotei is also a game that feels more like a redo than a sequel.
Wait,
it's
2-3 hours at first?
Hundreds of hours into Tsushima and the Iki Island DLC. Some moments
people whose opinions I trust,
and many of the unlocks you earn along the way are one.
People whose opinions I trust have said Death Stranding 2 is amazing, especially at the end. I haven't played any of the Death Strandings at all. I can only speak to my experience on Helldivers, but I have heard pretty much overwhelmingly good things about Death Stranding 2.
Ones you've already used before. But it did not stop me from really enjoying the gameplay though. The new weapon types give you more freedom in how you approach encounters than I first expected.
Ooh, I love that armor.
And it's huge that we now have multiple enemy factions instead of only fighting the Mongols throughout the whole game. I now finished the story, have done a lot of the side content, so I want to share my spoiler-free thoughts in this video. All the footage you see here is from the first chapter of the game, so no need to worry. And this first chapter is very open, by the way. In Tsushima you had to complete a lot of main missions in one region before you could move on to the second and then the third. In Yotei,
Many grifters didn't get advanced copy. You assume correctly.
Early, and it's up to you in which order you want to take.
Oh, I like that.
The game kicks off with a strong linear opening that you should experience for yourself. Let's just say that Atsu quickly makes a name for herself as the Anryo hunting the Yotei 6, a group of high-ranking soldiers led by Lord Saito. So already early on, while exploring the world, you will run into Saito's men who attack you on sight, as well as Ronins who saw the bounty on your head and are looking for a quick coin. The cool part is that your interactions with these enemies are always a little different. You might come across Ronin questioning settlers about your whereabouts, or someone pretending to need help fixing a broken cart, only to ambush you with his friends.
Oh, that's really cool.
Encounters often let you interrogate the last remaining enemy for intel on key objectives, after which you can choose which lead to follow first. But there's a high chance that on your way to your next main story mission, you will constantly get distracted. NPCs around campfires might ask for your help. Sometimes it's a short 10-minute side quest, other times it's a longer one that rewards you with an entirely new armor set. Atsu has a wolf companion that shows up randomly, but to strengthen your bond, you'll need to look out for wolf dens. Saito wants these animals gone, so it's your job to rescue them from nearby encampments. Each camp also comes with its own little twist, and
I'll be doing
these
this.
wolves always gives you a skill point to invest in the wolf skill tree, so the creature can more frequently help you out. But my favorite new activity is going after the bounties in each region. Every target has a short story and its own personality. It's a nice way to earn some quick cash, and sometimes you even get a unique item out of it as well. But for the most exciting rewards, you will want to hunt down the mythic tales. They are even more varied than in Tsushima, let you go to some very cool environments, they have unique gameplay twist. It's really one of the most exciting content in the game. There are actually quite a few activities from Tsushima.
I think one of the mythic tales is going to be Jin. I think Jin's going to be involved in some way. He should be. I haven't played Death Stranding not because I don't want to. It's just that I don't have time. I have a lot of games that I have to get to, or other things I have to do in general, not related to gaming. So I just never got around to Death Stranding. Like, if I'm not making content around it in particular, it's hard. If I don't have the free time, then I'm probably not getting to it. Wolverine seems like it's semi-open. Yeah, it's going to be it's going to be like God of War Ragnarok or whatever. It's going to be you're going to have large open areas to operate in, but it's not going to just be a giant continuous open world. You're going to have different you're going to basically have different zones to explore. The boycotting clearly didn't work. So Tsushima, when it comes to video game boycotts in general, I think usually they're silly, but they are almost always, actually I can't think of a single time where an actual video game boycott was successful. Usually they seem to do the opposite. They especially the sillier the boycott. It is like I think Hogwarts Legacy pretty much definitively showed that the internet is not real life when it comes to like buying behavior. If a game is good and people want the game, they're going to buy it. no matter what side of the culture war says you shouldn't. That's just the way it is. A lot of these people want you to believe that they have more influence than they do, because that's a big part of the grift, making it seem like the voices matter, but it doesn't. Like if you don't want to support Ghost of Yotei because a developer who no longer works at the company says something offensive, that's perfectly fine. That's up to you. It's your money. Like, but don't like demand other people do the same. Like let people do what they want with their money. You do whatever you want with yours. But usually it's literally just free marketing. I feel like Hogwarts Legacy was already going to sell well, but I think I think the controversy gave it like at least a 10 to 20% bump. Pro, you're pro. You good? Yeah, like it's all just silly. Ghost of Yotei is going to be very profitable, and people are going to cope and seethe about it. But yeah, we move. It doesn't matter.
That return in Yotei, like bamboo cutting, shrines, onsens, and fox dance. But developer Sucker Punch has done an amazing job
there you go.
of keeping them fresh this time around.
There you go, Gabe. Gabe was literally just asking about this. He wanted to know if the hot springs are coming back. Yes, there you go. Reflections, sore muscles, living off of the land. There you go. Gabe got his desired minigame. He can jump in the hot spring as Atsu, just like you could in Tsushima. Enjoy.
For one, you unlock the impactful upgrades.
But boycott, it's not even worth mentioning anymore. Like Republicans are mad that an employee at Sucker Punch was making fun of Charlie Kirk, and Sucker Punch fired them, and then they even issued a statement saying they didn't condemn that dev's comments, and people they're still boycotting because it was never about. Because that's the thing, it was never about what this dev said. They were the same people who are saying they're boycotting Yotei were already boycotting the game. The second that they saw the main character was a woman, they immediately went into grift mode. that's their whole deal. It didn't matter what happened after that. As soon as that first trailer hit and they saw who was the main character, they immediately made up their mind to hate on the game. So all this boycott stuff is just extremely disingenuous to begin with.
much faster. Onsens always increase your health, and
Just
you
keep a
only
pause
need
there,
a
it's
few
crazy.
bamboo strikes for a new spirit orb instead of 7 for the final upgrade in Tsushima. On top of that, every single one of these activities you come across has its own unique twist. One time I saw someone struggling to cut bamboo with
Women
a
are
stone
better for the hot
sword,
springs.
so I had to show them how it's done. Another time I had to
Yeah, I guess they prefer a guy to to be in hot springs, which, you know, more power to you. But I don't know, it feels weird that these homophobic culture warriors are so against the idea of seeing women. I honestly don't get it.
drink 2 bottles of sake.
I'd
and then
rather
try to
spend
cut
60
the
hours
bamboo
with a
while
woman
drunk.
than a
Trust
man.
me, there are many more fun
But
ones
that's just
you will
me.
want to see for yourself, where these could easily become tedious. In Tsushima, in Yotei, I'm always excited to find them, just to see what new idea they came up with. I'm also pleasantly surprised by the extra freedom we get in how we can approach combat. That said, there are some choices I'm not a huge fan of, and that I think
I hope Rise of Hydra doesn't get
better.
delayed
So a
again.
lot to go over real quick. If you are enjoying the video so far, would be
I already saw
awesome
enough
if you
gents
leave
to
a
guy,
like,
but
subscribe so you don't miss a ton of the spoiler-free tips and tricks we're working on. And if you have any questions about the game, drop them in the comments and I will do my best to answer them. Of course, the biggest new addition to Ghost of Yotei are the new weapon types. You start with a single katana, but very quickly unlock the dual katanas, which feel completely different and are especially effective against spear-wielding enemies.
love the
As you
dual
might
katana.
know, stances are no longer in Yotei. Instead, you switch weapons depending on the enemy you are facing. In essence, it's still kind of similar, but wielding a Yari spear or a Kusarigama is obviously more exciting than just having a different moveset for the katana. The Kusarigama is in particular a ton of fun to use because it's quite different
I love that
versus
weapon.
the other weapons you have, with the short range
It's really
sickle
fun
and
in
the
AC
long-range
Shadows.
AoE ball and chain. It even adds a new stealth move that lets you quietly take out enemies from range by pulling them towards you. But still, the downside of these weapons basically taking the place of Tsushima's stone, water, wind and moon stances is that it's hard to stick with your favorite. If you do, it will be less effective than picking the quote-unquote right weapon. Luckily, this is where the Odashi comes in. This enormous sword is great against brutes, but also really powerful against the other enemy types, letting you basically ignore the whole rock, paper, scissors gameplay.
Oh, so that I figured. So this big bleach sword is basically the water stance of Ghost of Yotei. Because in Ghost of Tsushima, yeah, you had the whole stance switching thing, but as soon as you unlock the water stance, you never had to switch stances because the water stance kind of just craps over every other stance in the game. It doesn't matter what weapon they're having. The only one that can kind of hold up against the water stance was like the spear, but even then you can just outplay the spear. Like the water stance is just completely broken. So it looks like this giant sword is that version. I'm here for it. Looks like the hardest weapon. Oh yeah, 100%. Very easily looks like you can hurt yourself.
Like, I had the most fun experimenting with loadouts, using the returning charms and armor sets to build around this slow but very powerful sword. Now, I do wish the RPG elements went a bit further though. A cool new addition are the ranks for the charms, which increase their effectiveness as you complete certain challenges.
You can rank them up.
This really entices you to play in fun new ways. But that said, the armor sets are once again tied to a single playstyle, even though Yotei's combat is at its best when you mix things up, sneak around, then pick off enemies
look clean.
with a ranged weapon, and then finish the rest off in melee combat. But an armor set will only benefit one
Looks
of
better
these
than AC
play
Shadows.
styles. It would have been
Of
cool
course.
if we could grab one perk from one armor set and put it on another armor set to make our own playstyle. Another issue is that we
Yeah, I do agree. I would prefer if you could like mix and match instead of like having to just pick a style to one armor set. Yeah. That's still kind of fun. Careful. You're not supposed to think she's attractive. This game is supposed to be woke.
You've seen most of these armor perks before in the first game. Yotei would have been much stronger if it introduced more new ways to play instead of repurposing many items and unlocks from Tsushima. Over the course of the game, Atsu is basically catching up to where Jin was at the end of his journey. Many of the main story unlocks or even rewards from the 30-minute long Mythic Tales give you things that you've already used countless of times before. Sure, give Atsu the ability to listen again or set her weapon on fire, or tools like a smoke bomb or kunai. But when around 75% of your arsenal is the same as in Tsushima, it does feel like they kinda dropped the ball here. What I do like is that once again you can easily miss certain unlocks if you don't explore. The skill system is actually brutal this time if you don't search for altars scattered. Once again, you can easily miss certain unlocks if you don't.
Bro, this armor set is clean. Look at that spider lily armor. AC Shadows made you. AC Shadows just made you miss Tsushima and you're Yotei. I think I gotta do a. At some point, I'm gonna try to. Yeah, before the end of the month, I gotta do a Assassin's Creed Shadows expansion stream, at the very least, to get my Twitch drops. I love a good Twitch drop, some free cosmetics. Enemies have a minor chance to drop throwable weapons. Stagger damage inflicted by melee weapons increases by a minor amount. Stagger enemy has a minor chance of dealing minor stagger damage to nearby enemies. Not especially OP, but it looks really clean. I really like the look of that armor. Cause Owaji was buns. Was it? Did you enjoy the main story of AC Shadows? Base Iron was as cool as you let the yellow.
Explore. The skill system is actually brutal this time. If you don't search for altars scattered across the world, you could finish the main story with only
bit them in the
few
buns.
skills unlocked. In Tsushima, it was possible to
Looks
more
very
or less
robust for armor.
mainline the game, but in Yotei, that will significantly impact your experience. Next to a lot of skills, you will also miss out on some melee weapons and tools if you just focus on the main story. You will only have 3 armor sets. It will really feel like a completely different game. Dennis in the JorRaptor team played the game that way and kind of regrets it. So if you usually do the main story content first and then the side content, rethink that, because it's way better to just explore.
Yeah, I'm definitely someone who likes to do the side quests. I like to be prepared. And just also, I just generally like exploring, but it's especially for Ghost of Tsushima, I love the side content. So, and looking around the environment, so I did a lot of exploring. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing that here. I think Deadpool at the very least is going to get a reference in there, because they're clearly doing. I covered it in a video, but they're clearly doing. They're following the Weapon X, Shiva incident, storyline to some degree. You know, so you know we saw Omega Red already. We know they have Trask Industries. The Reavers, they're going to Japan, so that means we're probably going to see the Hand as well. So yeah, there's a good chance we see good old Wade, or at least
the world and take
or at least get a reference to him
as they come. Another interesting thing I had when booting up this game for the first time, it reminded me why this PlayStation 5 generation felt so weird. Because it just hits different when a Sony first-party studio makes a game specifically designed for the new hardware. My recorded footage and the YouTube compression doesn't do it justice. This game looks insanely good, the draw distance is incredible. If you got a big screen, you'll be blown away by what Sucker Punch has achieved. With the PlayStation 5 Pro
I'm playing it on my
offering a
monitor.
mode that still targets 60 FPS with a higher resolution than the base PS5's performance mode, and also still has ray tracing.
I have a
The
curved
DualSense
monitor
features are also a great addition,
and a big
make
TV.
smart use of the touchpad for the Sumi-A painting that you have to do sometimes. They did not need to go as far as the Forge or camping mini games, but the nice thing is that you can skip them all if you want. I just love that these weird little things are in the game. It's become
pretty
too
cool.
rare to see a title fully use everything the PlayStation 5 has to offer. So the elements that Sucker Punch set out to improve in Ghost of Yotei, like the open world and its activities, are some of the best we've seen in the genre. Almost every activity or character you come across has a
Am I
fun
streaming
twist
this?
or
Of course.
side story that is worth exploring. The world itself is much more diverse
Got
now,
to.
with snowy regions, huge mountains, and a wide range of new enemies to face using the brand new weapon types. Now, I do wish those weapons weren't as heavily tied to the stances from the first game, but they still add a lot of variety, with the Odashi clearly standing out as the best addition to really shake things up. Where this ranks among the PlayStation Studio sequels really depends on your personal preference. If you love going off the beaten path and immerse yourself in a large open
I do love
world,
that.
this will likely be very high for you. But if you mainly play these games for the story, you might feel that Yotei does not hit the same highs. Also again, mainlining this game is not the way to go. Personally, I wish Sucker Punch had added more new unlocks, playstyles and RPG elements to make this really feel like a next step instead of a redo of Tsushima. But I also realized that that's more a personal gripe, coming from someone who spent a lot of time with Jin. It doesn't stop the game from being an absolute joy to play, and a reminder why PlayStation exclusives in a generation are so important. So take your time, enjoy Ghost of Yotei, as we don't get many of these anymore. And totally subscribe.
Yeah. I'm definitely, I mean, I wasn't worried for sure. I just know Sucker Punch cooks, so I was fully expecting Ghost of Yotei to be a very, very good game at the very least. But after seeing Digital Foundry and JorRaptor's reviews, and the critic scores is really strong right now as well. It's at 87. '89 open critic, 96% critics recommend. Yeah, so yeah, I have no doubts. I didn't have any to begin with, but now I'm thinking Ghost of Yotei might end up being my new favorite game of all time. I'm very excited to play this next week. I should probably finish Expedition 33 because I have a feeling I'm not going to be playing much else. I should probably at least get to that one. Out the way. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima might, after this one, get knocked down to my second favorite game. Your favorite was Death Stranding? You think Death Stranding 2? I still gotta play Death Stranding. I stream Rise of Hydra. I stream every Marvel game that I get. So it's interesting. JorRaptor thinks that the story, people who focus on story might think it's not quite hitting the highs, but he's more of an RPG guy. Whereas Digital Foundry review said that the story was just much better than Tsushima, but they also didn't stay on Tsushima that long. They lost interest in it. So I don't know. I think it's going to come down to preference. We're about to clear everything. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. I'm really happy with how the trailer turned out. I can't wait to see it. We haven't, you know, had a Wolverine game since X-Men Origins Wolverine. Like Wolverine's, I guess, Arrival is a very different experience, but you know, same with Midnight Suns. But seeing a new Wolverine game where it's like actually bloody again, that's so cool. How long is Yotei supposed to be? Let me see if the how long is it game site has Yotei info yet. It's saying Ghost of Yotei, it will take about 20 to 25 hours to finish the main story. So pretty much like the first game. Okay. So 20 to 25 hours for the main story, 60 hours for a full game with side content. And then that's not including like if you want to replay certain stuff, and then Legends mode comes out next year. So that's going to add a whole, you know, separate multiplayer mode on top of it. So yeah, I'm sold. I mean, I was already sold, but yeah. So as you saw, beautiful game, high praise from reliable people. 60 hours, and then it's going to have Legends mode. So that's going to be a free multiplayer mode added next year that you could play with your friends and other people. So yeah, it looks like it's another classic. Yep, do the Kurosawa mode. Got to do the Kurosawa playthrough. Already got the deluxe. I mean, from as far as I can tell, yeah, the culture warriors on both sides are still boycotting Yotei, and literally no one cares. It's like the sales have been really strong. The pre-sales have been really strong so far. Looking forward to actually playing the game. And I'm sure within like a week or two, we're not even going to be hearing about the drama anymore, which thank goodness. It's so cringe. Curious if you ever go back to play Tsushima. It could be fun to revisit it just for a comparison, or you know, just to see. Yeah, it's just a great game to come back to. But yes, Yotei looks like it's going to be insane. I can't wait. All right, that does it for me. I'm getting out of here. Appreciate everyone for hanging out. Haven't already, check out my latest video on Marvel's Wolverine, breaking down the game, not only the gameplay trailer, but all the Easter eggs, all the new information Insomniac dropped about it. We got a lot of incredible stuff coming up, gaming wise. I'm very excited for 2026 in particular. Next week we have Ghost of Yotei. I should be getting hopefully I get my copy early on October 1st. As soon as I get it, I'll stream that. Also next week, Marvel Rivals, if you follow Rivals, the Daredevil promo should be starting next week, and then he comes to the game the week after, so be on the lookout for that. And then of course, December is the Game Awards. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm Sadot The Gamer, signing out. Peace, everybody.